Good morning, everybody. I got some good news for all Pelicans fans. I think it's good news. I believe it's good news. Yeah, it's definitely good news. Zion Williamson is going to be signing a 5-year, 231, I believe it was, 231. Forgive me if the framework's off. I'm literally just waking up to turn on the camera. But I want to congratulate him and his family. The reason why I'm not too sure how the Pelicans fan will see this is because obviously he hasn't played very much. There's been some controversy about whether or not he wants to leave and go to New York for the last couple years. Weight issues that people have reported on, even though I never really took them seriously because he's a big guy to begin with. And all it's going to take is for him, in my opinion, to get his conditioning right. And the athleticism and his natural ability will take over and get him in shape. And that's exactly what we're seeing. A good summer for him, working out, doing the right things, and he's going to be in shape. So I'm not really worried about that. He's a hyper athletic superhuman. So the only concern I really have with him is just making sure he takes his body seriously. Because obviously if he doesn't, he can gain weight just like myself. Bad metabolisms, we can gain weight just by eating the wrong thing for a little while. So for big guys, it's very serious. For his health, it's very serious long term. But even for his career, obviously, it's very serious so that he can get the most out of himself and, secure these days like this. So I'm very happy for him. I don't doubt that this is a solid deal because he's going to be demanding that regardless based on his star power. And when he gets on the floor, what you quickly understand is that he could score 25, 30 points without even trying based on his power. So long as he can stay out of foul trouble, he should be able to overpower anybody in front of him. So you couple that with his speed, his passing ability, the defensive side of the ball, which he excelled in college, but I haven't seen a whole lot from him with the Pelicans. However, when you look at the team the Pelicans just put together, he's probably on arguably the best defensive team in the Western Conference right now. I really do have the Pelicans higher than most, by the way. I, honest to God, have them as a top 5 team in the NBA right now. Now, there's a lot that still has to happen, but yeah, I'm legitimately concerned that they're not going to lose many games this season. Not many. I think it's a chance they could actually be the best team in the Western Conference or one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Them, Memphis, Golden State, Timberwolves. A lot of people like the Clippers. I will throw them in there until further notice, but I'm not certain just because of the concern of their core. Same with the Lakers. It's not certain because of the concerns. But all in all, when I look at the Pelicans, adding Zion to the situation, adding Dyson Daniels to the situation, you have to understand they were already terrifying before you had those two pieces even a part of what they were doing last year. They already had games out of the Phoenix Suns, already got to the first round. You add these two monsters to the situation, and I legitimately think it's just about how quickly Willie Green can get everybody on board and playing the right kind of ball. And judging from what I saw from him last year, my confidence in him is sky high. So that's another reason why I'm looking at the Pelicans as a legitimate championship candidate, because my confidence in the coaches is super ridiculous at this point after seeing what he was able to do last season in the playoffs without Zion, without Dyson Daniels. So you figure they add those two pieces, and I ain't heard of them losing anything. Has the Pelicans lost anything? They still even got Devontae Graham on the team. So it's like, now you can see the vision of Griffin. Now you can see what it is that they're trying to do. Some may argue Zion isn't the greatest deal for them because of how good they looked without him, which is why I started the video this way. But all in all, Zion's going to cost you that. If you acquire Zion, any one of you teams in the league, that's what the going rate should have been expected to be. He's a max guy because it's not just about what he does on the floor. Like some of these other great players, they're also superstars who are going to bring a lot of revenue to your team. And if you get Zion in the right market, he's going to definitely bring you $1 billion plus off of sheer hype alone. So that is why that contract is so high. So that's what I got to say, man. I have no problem with him getting the Supermax, even though I understand and legitimately side with the people who have their questions based on what he's shown. I think the market dictates that you show skepticism to anyone who has been seen as little as he has with the demand on that type of cap equity. It's natural to have questions just in general. So it is what it is, man. I don't think if you're the Pelicans, given what they've gone through, given what they have in front of them, you are even considering letting him go. You don't even let that cross your mind. However, if you legitimately look at what they're building, one could argue they could allocate that max contract to make them greater than what Zion may be able to do slipping into this lineup. But see, that's the super GM in me that says, well, I can do this, and this. If I take Zion, I can turn him to this, and I can get him into the first pick, and I can turn that first pick into something else, and I can get that player and that player. And so my mind tells me I can do a lot of things that may not actually be possible. But I look at his max contract, and I say, if he has another injury of some sort, and he has to miss another year, if this turns into being a thing, and then Jones needs to be paid, Dyson needs to be paid, B.I.'s already been paid, Alvarado needs to be paid, CJ has already been paid. Like, you start looking at what's going to happen to you if for some reason you have Zion unhealthy on this contract, and then you start losing some of them key defensive pieces that make you as good as I consider you to be, you start wondering how much you actually need Zion Williamson. Especially when you're paying him this after watching your team be successful without him. I don't know if I'm, as an owner, especially with all the hype surrounding him and whether or not he wanted to be with my team in the first place, I'm not sure I'm not trying to do a sign and trade getting him out of here. Seriously. Because even though I know what type of talent he is, I look at my fit and I say, slipping him in could, in theory, make us ridiculously great. Slipping him in, becoming reliant upon him, and then him going down could cripple us. You see what I'm saying? But that's a good problem to have when you're considering the piece is Zion freaking Williamson. I ain't lost sight of that. But how bad do they need his 30 points and 8 rebounds? 200 plus amount that bad? On top of what they already have? Like I said, it was Zion Williamson wasn't a part of the team that got you to the second round. So, while this makes all the sense in the world from a money standpoint, because it's like, yo, you just want to make sure you have Zion because he's going to bring you all the money in the world. The question marks I have about his injury issues and whether or not his availability is going to be for me ain't a whole lot different than the concerns I have about some of the other players that we've been talking about lately and their availability. In fact, I have even more questions about him because he's more expensive than them. I'm talking about Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, players that you're not sure are going to be able to suit up just for whatever reason. Anthony Davis. Yeah, Zion's contract just became more expensive than those. So it's like, is he worth that in this league? Of course. Hell yeah, he's worth that. If I'm the San Antonio Spurs, I don't have no problem paying that. So, you know what I'm saying? If I'm anybody else, give me that contract and we move forward. Brooklyn, give me the contract, we move forward. But if I'm New Orleans, with the plethora of talent that they have everywhere, me personally, I fell in love with the core that we had last year if I'm New Orleans. And my priority is to keep what I have that I know has proven to work intact. I'm imagining Zion slipping in, assuming it's going to work, assuming that everybody slips into their proper roles because he's there. It's a logical assumption. But you still have to imagine it as opposed to have evidence of it working with this unit that was excellent. I don't know, man. If I'm the Pelicans, I don't think I disrupt that unit in any way. I don't think I do. I think I add to it by bringing pieces to it that make it its best self. I don't even know if I really want Zion for their vision. I have to see it, though. I have to see it. Because for all I know, and what logically is to think, is that they built this thing around him. But like I said, it works so well without him. And like I always say, basketball's sensitive. You put one player in, take one player out, you got a different dynamic. It ain't the same defensive team in theory if this, that, or the third doesn't happen. And that's why the Pelicans are so ridiculously strong in my mind, because of the defensive players that they put on the floor at all times. So if Zion isn't healthy, or if he isn't himself, or if he takes away from that dynamic in a way that pulls them away from their identity that they had last year, I think we could very easily see this contract moved. In all its glory, I could very easily see them saying, you know what, we can get a lot for Zion. And we have a lot without Zion. I don't know, man. I don't know. Especially knowing that he's been wanting to be in New York for the last 5 years. Now we get to this point. Nah, I'm moving that. I'm a different type of GM. And look, my owner probably ain't never going to hire a mind like mine because I'm always going to give away a good thing. But that's because I can see what comes down the pipeline and realize that good thing may not necessarily be as good as the thing I already got when I consider how the field looks. And I look at the New Orleans Pelicans, and one of the things that I say is they are one of the teams that I think about when I'm considering what my team needs to face in the NBA this year. And the first teams come to mind, it's Pelicans. How we going to deal with Jones? How we going to deal with B.I.? How we going to deal with the length? And of course Zion's a great part of that. He's a part of that. But as I already said, in my mind, he was part of that. What I saw, he wasn't. What I believe in, that unit, he wasn't a part of that. So that's all I'm saying. He's the most expensive piece, and now you're dreaming of him fitting into something that was already really, really, really working. I know there's no other choice. It's not like you're going to choose the other way to go, but this is just something that I think could secretly be the opposite, going in the opposite direction. Could secretly be taking the team in the opposite direction. So we'll see. We'll see. It's all about Zion, man. He comes in, dominates, takes 30, makes 30 points a game, gets 15 rebounds a game, vaults himself right back into all-star status or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised. He's capable of doing all of that. And if the team's winning and everybody's happy and it's not taken away from the roles, like I said, I think the team can win the championship. I legitimately think they're going to be a finals candidate. So, we'll see how it plays out. But if Zion goes down with an injury, if something happens to where he ain't himself, or he starts getting unhappy and it starts messing with chemistry because he's unhappy, so anything like that, we're going to be looking at this contract as a bad contract for the Pelicans. Simple as that. It'll be a good contract somewhere else, but I'm not going to love it for them. We'll see how it goes, though. PDL 44.